Hello, everybody, and welcome to Winter Collaboration Summit. We are so excited to have you all here for the very first ever Winter Collaboration Summit. It's so excited that we can all be together virtually as we head into this very eventful and exciting event season, as well as upcoming semester. So the purpose of tonight is just to make sure that you know exactly what's going on and what to expect for the rest of the semester. We are going to be recording this session, and we will be sending out all of the recordings and links afterwards at the end of the week. So feel free to take notes of everything, but if you miss something or you don't catch a link, don't stress about it. You'll get it all after.
Yeah, so we're going to start off just by introducing ourselves. So for those of you who don't know us, my name's Meredith. I'm the program manager for Western Canada and Quebec.
Hey everyone, my name's Sierra. I'm the program manager for Atlantic Canada.
Hi everyone, I'm Mara. I'm one of the program managers for Central Canada.
And my name is Catherine, and I am the other program manager for Central Canada. So the game plan for tonight is we're just going to walk through in chronological order of everything that you'll be experiencing for the next few months throughout the semester. So all of our events and our different opportunities. We are doing Q&A at the end. So if you think of questions, feel free to type them in the chat or save them to the end and type them in the chat then. Of course, at the end of the session, we'll be breaking out into our best practice sharing breakout rooms, which you all registered for before this session when you registered for the summit. I'm going to be working away with my colleague Elle to get you all sorted into your breakout rooms, and we'll talk about how that works at the end. So that will be in about an hour. So the very first thing I wanted to remind everybody of was our first event that's happening in just a few weeks, the first week of February, which is Enactus Careers Week. So Enactus Careers Week is a really fantastic opportunity to help move your career forward and prep yourself for entering the workforce in just a few months, or the summer job market in just a few months. So it's our second annual Careers Week. The first one was in the fall. So stuff that you can look out for are some great tips all over social media, our Enactus social media all week. But then two key events. The first one is Building and Managing Your Network, which is a workshop hosted by Mentor Canada on February 2nd from 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And it's going to be all about learning different skills to help you effectively manage and utilize your network as best as possible. There'll be students from across the country, as well as senior leaders from our various partner companies who will all be at this session. And you'll get a chance to connect with them as well. And then on February 3rd and 4th, we have resume and LinkedIn and mock interviews. So when you sign up, you will be connected with one-on-one with a senior leader or recruiter or someone at our partner companies who will help you just prepare for the workforce. It'll be a good networking and coffee chat, resume review, or mock interview. Really what you make out of the session is it's a great opportunity to meet one-on-one with an industry professional. And the date to register for both of these events is this Friday, January 22nd. To register for both the workshop and the LinkedIn resume reviews, there are two different links. So make sure you look at our social media as well as look at the links that we send to you at the end of the week to make sure you're registered for everything if you want to do both. As well as make sure that you are on our career shortlist, which you join on our website. But overall, just make sure you take advantage of these opportunities. It's the perks of being in the Enactus network, and I hope you enjoy it.
All right, so next we're going to move on to the Enactus Canada Regional Exposition. So with the virtual regionals event kicking off in 52 days, we're going to share all the key dates and deadlines that you'll need to know over the next 2 months to prepare for the event. So this year, all the regionals will be taking place at the same time, with the event kicking off on March 12th with opening ceremonies and running until March 19th. So starting in February, I'm just going to highlight a few key dates to know about in February before we get into March. All teams should be registered by February 12th. If you've not registered your team yet, you should register as soon as possible because this will actually lock in your ability to book your Q&A. And the faster you register, the more openings there will be with your program manager. That recording will be taking place from March 6th to 8th. Then the following week, so the following Friday on February 19th, every team will need to submit their spirit video, which is a 20-second video demonstrating your team's personality and your Enactus spirit. This video is used to introduce your team to the network, and it's your time to shine. Let us know how much Enactus spirit your team has by submitting your video. So moving into March, your final submissions will be due on March 5th, by 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This submission will include each video for the challenges your teams decided to compete in, and the accompanying challenge report and your project verification form. Each team should be in constant communication with your program manager and have them review the challenge report in advance to approve it before your final submission on the 5th. So since we move right into Q&A that weekend, we want to make sure that you send it to us ahead of time so that everything is good to go when you submit it on the 5th. So please submit it by no later than Tuesday, March 2nd. Following your submission, your team will be meeting with your program manager during your scheduled block between the 6th and the 8th of March. During this time, you'll join the call with your program manager. We'll do an overview of the question and answer process, and then basically you'll go through your recording itself. Once that's recorded, it'll be attached to your video and sent to the judges for review. The event officially kicks off with opening ceremonies on March 12th. During this time, the league selections will be announced. This will also be when the project pitch competition is launched, which Sierra will tell you more about shortly. So moving into the week of the 15th, that's when we'll be hosting regional specific mentor sessions, alumni spotlights, mental wellness session, and each partner will be hosting a forum from March 15th to the 17th to assist teams in developing their idea for that pitch competition. Following the forum, the teams will be required to send in your submission by 11:59 that night. On the 18th of March, we'll announce the 6 finalists for the pitch competition that'll move forward to the final round of competition on March 19th. Also on March 19th, the finalists in the pitch competition will do their presentation, but we'll be doing the closing ceremonies where the regional champions for each regional competition and the pitch competition winners will be announced. And as a final note, just a quick reminder, we finish regionals on March 19th. The following week on March 26th is when all of the awards are due. So make sure to keep an eye out for that because that'll come up quick after regionals and you want to make sure you're recognizing those superstars on your team.
Okay, so as you can see from our event outline, we have a jam-packed schedule to keep your team engaged while showcasing some really cool partners and members of the enactus community. One of the highlights you can look out for is our alumni spotlight. So some amazing students have filtered through the enactus program over the years and have created great projects that have turned into business ideas or received job opportunities with some reputable organizations. These sessions are going to bring back some of those familiar faces in a where are they now style interview. These are going to be 30-minute spotlights, which will be posted at 2 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time each day from March 15th to 17th. So stay tuned to hear the amazing stories of successful alumni that started off just like you. So we know that making connections amidst the global pandemic can be hard. So we've decided to partner with Mentor Canada to offer you a Learning with Leaders virtual experience. These mentor sessions will allow enactus students to engage in groups with leaders in partner companies that represent diverse industries and career paths. The sessions will take place at 1 p.m. Eastern Time from March 15th to 17th, depending on your region. So make sure to register for this event by March 5th at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time if you'd like to participate. And if you want to check out more details or more opportunities, you can go to the Game News Skills section on the enactus Careers Workplace Readiness online platform. And I just want to say, just a reminder that when you sign up for these, you are scheduling yourself a meeting with an executive. So make sure you prioritize these meetings and make a really good first impression. At enactus Canada, we have made it our priority to provide each of you with the tools and resources to stay positive and engaged during these times. So in partnership with the cooperators, we will be hosting 30-minute fun activities to just break up the competition day and help you restore your mental wellness. So make sure to keep an eye out for these sessions that will be happening from 2:30 to 3 p.m. Eastern Time, March 15th to 17th. And check out our regionals.enactus site for more details and more activities to come. Okay, so that pitch competition that Meredith was talking about earlier, those of you that competed last year, you may remember the best project idea video competition. This year, we've actually adopted the idea to have less barriers to entry and be more accessible to members on your team. So this challenge will act as a case study competition or hackathon for all of those that enter and it will run in sync with our regular regional competition activities. So enactus teams will be challenged to come up with innovative project ideas to address a specific need within the CWB financial education, the Scotiabank climate action, and the TD entrepreneurship challenges. So these topics will be announced for you on March 12th during the opening round of the regional ceremonies. So to compete, each team will submit a one-page overview of their idea using a template that we will provide you. So the purpose of this challenge is really to just encourage teams to generate as many new ideas as possible. So we have put no limits on the amount of pitches you can enter. And these can be individual entries or group entries, whatever you'd like. The only thing is you must be a student team, and you cannot pitch a competing project or a project that you've already generated impact. So as we move on into the competition, so on Thursday, March 18th at 3 p.m., we will announce 2 regional winners for each challenge, who will then move on to present a 1-minute live pitch in front of a panel of judges on March 19th. So there's going to be prizes from $1,500, $1,000, and $500 for those of you that receive first place, second place, and third place. So we've made the submission process super easy and simple. This is really just your chance to inspire new projects, get funding, and keep your team involved. So start thinking about which members you'd like to enter and get ready to participate in the new Project Idea Pitch Challenge. In alignment with the Project Pitch Idea Challenge, our partners CWB, Scotiabank, and TD will be hosting individual forums from March 15th to 17th to assist those teams in developing their ideas. So these are going to be a panel style discussion that features industry experts and your fellow students, and will touch on how teams can use their project ideas to address the needs of each national challenge. So the project pitches will be due no later than 11:59 p.m. on the respective challenge forum date.
Moving on to the competition pathway from regionals to nationals. So at regionals, there are the 3 national challenges which you can compete in: the CWB project, or the CWB Financial Education Challenge, the Scotiabank Climate Action Challenge, and the TD Entrepreneurship Challenge. And then, as Sierra mentioned, there's also the 3 idea pitches that are related to those topics, which you can also compete in. Moving on to nationals, only the regional champions will move on to compete at nationals. At the same time, every other team will also be invited to compete at nationals in the enactus national competition with a 12-minute presentation. And at the same time, there'll be the student entrepreneur competition also happening. From nationals, the winner of the national competition will move on to represent Canada at the enactus World Cup. So getting a bit more in depth into regionals and the national challenges, as I mentioned, there'll be the 3 national challenges which your team can compete in: the CWB Financial Education Challenge, the Scotiabank Climate Action Challenge, and the TD Entrepreneurship Challenge. For each of these challenges, it is a 5-minute video presentation which your team will submit on March 5th. Along with this, you'll submit a 1-page challenge report, which is pre-templated. We have the templates on our website for your team to download. And then also your team will record a 3-minute Q&A. So reminders, make sure you're submitting only a 5-minute video. Your video can't even be a second longer. So just be really, ensure your video is only 5 minutes. You can't delete anything on the challenge report template. So there's pre-made boxes. You can make the boxes bigger or smaller, but nothing that is already there can be deleted. And then on our website, we have overviews and the new challenge report templates. The challenge report templates are different than they have been in the past. So make sure your team is downloading the most up-to-date versions. And then the prize money for the national challenge is, for the regional champion, $1,500. For the regional runner-up, it's $1,000. And for the regional second runner-up, it's $500. So moving into the CWB Financial Education Challenge, The judging criterion for this challenge is which enactus team most effectively demonstrated entrepreneurial leadership to drive business and innovation for sustainable positive impact related to financial education and/or inclusion within the last year. On the right of the screen, you can see the challenge report for this challenge. And at the bottom, there's 4 little boxes with the standardized metrics. The standardized metrics for this challenge are the number of people educated on financial literacy. Of the total number of people educated on financial literacy, how many were small business owners? Number of people whose net worth has increased through savings or reduced debt, and the dollar value or change in net worth in Canadian dollars. In order to be eligible to compete in this challenge, your team needs to be able to fill out one of those standardized metrics on the challenge report. If you're unable to fill out one of those boxes, you unfortunately won't be able to compete in that challenge. Moving on to the next challenge, which is the Scotiabank Climate Action Challenge. The judging criterion for this challenge states which enactus team most effectively demonstrated entrepreneurial leadership to drive business and innovation for sustainable positive impact related to climate change within the last year. And the standardized metrics for this challenge are liters of water conserved, GHG emissions diverted, metric tons of waste diverted, and dollar value of waste diverted. Again, if you're unable to fill out one of those standardized metrics boxes on the challenge report template, you won't be able to compete in the category. And then lastly, we have the TD Entrepreneurship Challenge, and the judging criterion for this challenge states which enactus team most effectively demonstrated entrepreneurial leadership to drive business and innovation for sustainable positive impact related to entrepreneurship within the last year. And the standardized metrics for this section are number of businesses started, number of people exposed to entrepreneurship, number of existing entrepreneurs helped, and number of jobs created. And same thing, if you can't report on any of those standardized metrics, you won't be able to compete in the challenge. Moving on to the judging criterion. So the judging criteria is different for the 3 challenges, but it's broken down into the same green sheet. And the 4 categories that teams are judged on are entrepreneurial leadership, innovation, use of business principles, and sustainable positive impact related to the category you're competing in. So at the top, you can see the enactus judging criterion changes depending on which category you're competing in. And then at the bottom of the judging criteria, there's the sustainable positive impact, and then it will list metrics related to the challenge you are competing in. All of these judging criteria sheets are available on our website, and I would recommend your team using these as you develop your presentation. And also, if you're having a showcase or you're showing your presentation to outside people who are not on your team before submitting it, make sure you're sending them these evaluation forms so that they're able to evaluate your presentation and give you helpful feedback.
All right, so now that we've reviewed all that you'll need to know for the next few weeks as we move towards regionals, I wanted to give you a few reminders and rules that we have, and also a few tips since we're virtual this year. So just a few general reminders. Make sure you're using the correct enactus logo. If you're unsure, just reach out to your program manager. They'll let you know if it's right or not. As we send out requests to be submitting your videos and your challenge reports, we're going to have a naming convention for each file that you send to us. Please try to have these as we sent them to you, fill them out correctly. And I know we have an example there, but we'll send that to you, so don't worry about it for now. But when you submit things, it makes our lives a lot easier if everything is titled correctly, because we are virtual this year. We want to make sure everything goes where it needs to go. Also, your project verification form that you submit with everything that's sent in on the 5th, that has a lot of rules and restrictions in it about the competition itself. So things like reporting metrics can only be included for the current academic year, and how to present your partnerships, ensuring that you're representing what you do and what your partner does. So make sure you take a look at those and review the rules that are covered in that. For your video submissions specifically, don't use any copywritten music. That makes it very hard for us to share it with everybody. So make sure that when you're creating your video, you're not using any. Keep your video file under 500 megabytes. And submit your signed project verification form when you submit everything else on March 5th. For the challenge reports, as Mara was talking about, you saw the forms that you're going to need to fill out. When you send them to us, please send them in a PDF format. And make sure you're using that template that's provided. Or I emphasize this, but just wanted to make sure to drive it home. You cannot delete anything on those. Those will be sent back if there is anything removed. And also on those forms this year, so on your challenge reports, there'll actually be a spot to fill out ownership. So make sure you're disclosing your project ownership there as well. So some additional requests. So since we are virtual, we're asking you guys for a little bit more this year in terms of videos, but it's because we want to see your faces and we want everybody else to be able to see everyone in the network. So we're asking for a spirit video. So that's a 20-second video of your team, a team picture, and a 10-second video of your team cheering. This will really liven up our event, and we get to see your faces. So that's always a plus. Just a quick reminder in terms of COVID. So because everything is different in every province and seems like everything's different every day, make sure you're mindful of the current COVID restrictions as you're creating your submission. Health and safety should be your #1 priority when doing this. And consider the perception of your video when you send it in. So if you send in a video and you have a picture or a video of maybe 40 students that are all in one spot, if it was filmed before COVID, make sure you're disclosing that and saying, like, even on commercials now, it says this was recorded before the pandemic. So make sure you're clarifying that. And finally, involve your supporters. You know, the program managers that are here today, we love your projects. We are eager to be involved. So bring us in, involve us in your process. We're always curious as what's happening and how we can help. Also, reach out to people like your advisors, your alumni, your community supporters. Bring them in and get that external feedback. You could even host a showcase where you bring all of them together, maybe use those screen sheets, and that way they can give you some feedback on your presentation before competition. And now I'm just going to go through a few tips for the submissions that you're creating. So for your video specifically, make sure you understand what the judges are looking for and what that judging criterion is asking. And so when someone watches your video, it's clear to follow. It's easy to watch that and be able to fill out the template. Focus on outcomes, but explain how you got there. So make sure you're explaining, you know, what you did this year and how you were able to do it. And make sure things are simple. Your presentation should be clear and memorable. And as I mentioned, be clear about your partnerships. For the challenge report, you also want to focus on outcomes. Enactus reporting should be focused on quality and the depth of impact, outcomes, and reach. Don't try to pack every single space on that challenge report. Less is more in that sense. Just make sure it's clear and concise when you're including your information. And as Mara mentioned, if you can't report on any of the metrics that are on that challenge report, unfortunately, you won't be competing in that challenge. Additional metrics that you want to include to support the ones that are already provided on there, they'll actually have an impact section where you can put information and additional numbers in addition to those 4 metrics that are asked for, and keep it to 1 page. And finally, we've created a little checklist for you. So everybody's going to get this slideshow after this session. I'd recommend to keep this slide in particular and share it with your team. It's going to give you all the key dates that you'll need to know from February 12th until March 26th.
Okay, so your team members and your institution's staff and advisors and administration work super hard to make sure your projects move forward and create impact. So why not get the recognition you and your team deserves by applying and nominating these great people for one of the amazing award and recognition opportunities we offer? So some of you may have already gotten a chance to experience the awards through the Founders Bursary and Whitney Barham Social Justice Award applications that were due back in December. But if you haven't, no worries, there's still time. There are still 4 types of individual awards available to apply for, such as the HSBC Woman Entrepreneurial Leader, the Project Leader of the Year, Student Leader of the Year, and the Spirit Champion Awards. Remember that when you are sending out these nominations, they must be approved by your advisor. So the moment that you send them to your program manager, make sure your advisor just sends kind of a check-in just saying that they approve those awards. Your team can be recognized through awards like the Most Improved Team, the Collaboration Award, the Rookie Team of the Year, and so much more. We even have awards like the Team Advisor of the Year, Administrator of the Year, and Alumni of the Year to recognize some of the great people that help your team every single day. This year, we've actually introduced a few new awards. So the first one being the Spirit Champion Award, which recognizes 3 students who've made an outstanding contribution to serve as your team's culture advocate. The Media Savvy Award, which goes to an enactus team that has done an outstanding job increasing its profile nationally. And the Most Engaged Team Award, which recognizes one team within each region that has shown a high level of engagement and enactus activities outside of the competition, taking advantage of the opportunities available to their team throughout the year. So attending things like Collaboration Summit, Careers Week, and just getting involved in multiple things makes you eligible for this award. So all awards that require an application are going to be due on March 26th. That being said, some awards you actually don't need to apply for. You will be automatically nominated. So the dates come really fast after regionals, so make sure you do these early and start thinking about them now. If you want to find out more details about the available awards, their prizes, you can check out the Enactus Canada Awards and Recognition Handbook on our resources page.
So moving on to final reporting. So what are the benefits of final reporting and why is it so important? So there's numerous benefits for Enactus Canada as an organization and also for your Enactus team. So for your Enactus team, some of the benefits of final reporting are keeping track of your projects, enabling you to track your impact year over year and see if your impact is growing and if you've achieved your desired impact, and also allows you to obtain more support for your projects, whether that be financial or in kind or sponsorships. And then some of the benefits for Enactus Canada, it provides data for our organization. It allows us to track our membership and alumni, and then it also allows us to improve our fundraising for our national organization and also for teams. So final reporting has two different parts. Part of it is final impact reporting and then also just final reporting. Final impact reporting is only applicable to teams that received project accelerators. This is due on April 9th, regardless if you got a project accelerator in phase 1 or phase 2. You need to submit one final impact report per project accelerator that received a grant. This year, it is no longer on team.enactus.ca. It's just a Word document that you can download on our website, and then you need to send to your program manager over email by April 9th. This isn't super important to do properly because it's going to be judged by our corporate sponsors and used to determine the best project idea award, or the best project award, sorry. And then final reporting is for everyone, regardless if you're competing in nationals, if you received a grant, you must complete final reporting. And this is due on April 16th and includes numerous different things such as project metrics, year-end team info, volunteer hours, team contacts, alumni contacts, and it is completed on team.enactus.ca. And you need to still complete final reporting even if you are submitting a final impact report. So the first part of final reporting is making sure your contacts and volunteer hours are up to date on team.enactus.ca. Everyone who's been on your team for the year should be created as a contact on team.enactus.ca and should be listed under the reporting year 2020-2021. Your volunteers and team members should also be reporting their volunteer hours monthly. So please go in and make sure that your team has been doing this on a monthly basis. This is super important for competition because if you're going to say in your presentation, my team volunteered X number of hours with X number of students on my team, and then team.enactus.ca doesn't match, you won't be able to report that in your presentation. So it's good to get a head start on this. Go in, make sure your team members are updating this monthly. And it's also really important for your team members to get recognized for their volunteer hours, for awards. And then last year, some of our students did get gift cards based on the number of hours they volunteered. So please make sure your team members are doing this. Moving on to project metrics. So every team needs to create one project metrics per project their team has. You go on to team.enactus.ca and create project metrics. We also have a tutorial on this on our YouTube channel, which you can find on our resource page. This is due by April 16th. You can report on data from last nationals to now. So pretty much anything from after nationals to nationals this year, you should include in your project metrics. You also need to report on your strategic projects. So if you have a project that's just about fundraising, please make sure you also complete a project metrics. And this is due April 16th. If your impact between April 16th and when the video submissions are due for nationals, which is April 30th, increases, please email your project or your program manager to let them know to update these numbers, because your project metrics do need to match what you're saying in your nationals presentation and also what you're saying in your annual report. So make sure those numbers are being updated and everything matches and is correct. Moving on to reporting. So when you are reporting, remember there's 3 different types of projects your team can run: a social enterprise, a community project, and a strategic project. These are all equally important, and you do need to report on all 3 different types of these projects. Moving on to the type of impact your projects can have. So your projects can have direct or indirect impact. Both are equally important, and you need to be tracking them both throughout the year. So direct impact is pretty much what it sounds like it is. It's anyone your team has worked with directly. So if your team employed 5 people to make a product, those 5 people would be directly impacted. For direct impact, you need to make sure you have the contact information for those people directly impacted. That's how you verify you did work with them directly. So if you can't provide a name or contact info for those people directly impacted, you shouldn't be reporting on them as having been directly impacted. And then indirect impact, same as it sounds, anyone your team indirectly worked with. So if your team created a financial literacy workshop and you sent it to elementary school teachers to teach, all those students in the elementary school would be indirectly impacted. If you have any questions about direct or indirect impact when you are completing your final reporting, please make sure you contact your program manager so they're able to help you and clarify those 2 definitions.
We may have lost Mara, but we'll give her a minute to come back.
On team info, this is on your team info, kind of general information. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Am I back?
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. Mara, I think we can hear you. I think you're good. Your screen just isn't moving. Okay, well, we may have lost Mara, but we are going to move forward.
Hello, back?
Oh, you're back. Okay, all right.
Sorry, Zoom kicked
It's
me
okay,
out.
Mara.
Where did I get cut off?
Right at the year-end team info.
Yeah, we were just moving into year-end team info, so you can take it.
Sorry, everybody. I got kicked out of the meeting. So year-end team info, you will need to complete 1 for your team. And these are just general questions related to your team. So your social media handles, does your team have a business advisory board? What is your revenue? You'll need to complete this once. We also have a tutorial on how to complete this on our resource center, and it is also due April 16th. When you're going through final reporting, make sure you're utilizing this training session, this PowerPoint template, as well as the online YouTube tutorial to kind of help you and make sure you aren't missing anything when you're going through it, because there is a bunch of different steps. And this is kind of a checklist to remind you what you need to complete as part of final reporting. So team contacts, alumni contacts, volunteer hours, project metrics, and year-end team info, all due on April 16th on team.enactus.ca. And all the impact you're reporting on is from nationals to nationals. So pretty much from last end of May to this nationals. Yes, that's it for final reporting.
Perfect. Thank you, Mara. All right, so next we're going to highlight some new opportunities this year. So we actually are going to have an Ask Me Anything with the final round judges. So at the end of April on the 22nd, we'll be hosting the Ask Me Anything style webinar. This opportunity will allow each team to connect with 4 final round judges with any questions you may have. These judges are experienced and knowledgeable about the competition and have a diverse background to answer your questions. This is your chance to ask anything you have about trying to get your team ready for competition, how to properly represent the judging criteria, any advice or tips you're looking for. This will be happening as we approach the competition deadline and your team is preparing for the question and answer. So I'd highly recommend you check this out. Remember, it's on Thursday, April 22nd from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
All right, so as we move forward past regionals, we have our national exposition, which will be hosted virtually and kickstart from May 10th to May 20th. So this event is your team's opportunity to collaborate, find inspiration, and showcase all of the world-class projects you've been working on all year. Here's a quick preview of what it's going to look like as we move into the competition. So Mara touched on a few dates, like the April 9th for final impact reports, as well as the final reporting that's due on April 16th. And as you can see, these dates are very close together. So make sure you are leveraging your team members and your program managers to help you stay organized during this time. So a few things to highlight here. Before your videos are submitted, each team will book a pre-screening with their program manager where they will do a review of your impact numbers and presentations. This will be your time to ask any questions and receive feedback before the competition actually begins. So after this pre-screening period, all video submissions and annual reports will be due on April 30th. Okay, so following the submissions, each team will book their question and answer period with their program manager, kind of the same style as the regionals would. And then each of those will be sent along with your videos and annual reports to the judges. So the competition will officially kick off May 10th with the opening ceremonies. As we move on throughout the week, you'll see different forums. We'll have that student entrepreneur contest running at the same time. On May 13th, the national challenge final round will happen. So everybody that moved on from regionals, this will be the final round where we'll announce the region of the winners from each category. We'll also have a feedback session happening on May 14th. So this is something that's new, and I'll get into a little bit more details, but this is a session where you'll be able to sit down with judges before moving into the semifinal round. The semifinal round of competition will happen on May 17th. As we move forward throughout the week, you'll also see, again, another forum from HSBC. The student entrepreneur final round will be happening on May 18th, as well as a few different award ceremonies happening on the day of May 18th and May 14th. So we'll also, during this time, we'll have some events for your faculty and administration that will be joining us as well. Okay, so though the national challenge final round is only for those teams that advance forward from the regional competition, the national exposition is available to all teams to compete in. So we suggest every team, no matter what stage you're at, to submit a video. It can be the impact created from one single world-class project or accumulation of the impact your team has made over multiple projects. So at this stage of the competition, you will be required to submit a 12-minute video along with your annual report that consists of the impact numbers your team will be presenting on. So there will also be an 8-minute question and answer period versus the 3-minute Q&A that you're going to experience at regionals. So the opening ceremony or the opening round will be a pre-recorded Q&A with your program manager happening on the dates outlined above. So actually, I don't think we've outlined them, but it'll happen the weekend after you submit your 12-minute video submission. So those teams that advance on to the semifinal round and the final round will have a live Q&A period in front of a panel of judges. So like I was talking about before you find out who is moving into the semifinal round, each team will have the opportunity to sit down with their judges and get feedback on their presentation. So this is a mandatory session, so be prepared to have your team available for May 14th. The top 2 teams from each league will then move on to the semifinal round, and the top 4 teams will compete to become the 2021 national champion. So as we showed in our charts before, the national championship is broken into multiple competitions that run simultaneously with each other. So the first part being the national challenge final round, where all of the league winners from each region will compete to become the champions of the national challenge topics. Those are going to be your 5-minute video submissions. You can choose to use the video you competed with at regionals, but we suggest that you update your video with new visuals and add in your new project metrics. So those of you that move forward will also need to submit a new challenge report. The Q&A period for this round will be live, so be aware of this when you're preparing your presentation teams. Now let's take a look at the evaluation forms that will be used to determine the 2021 national champion. So each judge will be tasked with determining which enactus team most effectively used entrepreneurial leadership to drive business and innovation for sustainable positive impact to benefit people, planet, and prosperity within the last year. So judges will evaluate each team in the areas of entrepreneurial leadership, use of business principles, use of innovation, and overall sustainable impact. After your presentation, they will mark these sheets, these green sheets here, with a description of their insight and all of their feedback that they have for you. So to find out more information, you can get the definitions of each section of the criteria on our resources page, and you just click on the sample judging form. But if you have any questions, you can also ask your program manager. So along with the regular national exposition activities, there are so many more opportunities to get involved. So there's the student entrepreneur national competition that I was talking about, where you're going to be able to watch the top 12 student-run businesses compete for a $10,000 prize. So these are some of the best student-run businesses in the country, so make sure you tune in. There's also going to be different forums hosted by our partners like RBC and HSBC that are going to cover a range of topics from leadership to sustainability. There will be networking sessions where you can sit down with top executives and share some best practices with some of your peers from across the country. We'll also be hosting more mental wellness sessions to keep you on your feet, and as well as having plenty of awards, bursaries, and prizes that will be given out at our ceremonies. So as we get closer to the competition, we will be announcing more project pitch opportunities and so much more. So stay tuned on our social media channels and look out for our newsletters to get more details.
All right, so following nationals, we'll be hosting our annual Enactus Canada Leadership Summit. This virtual summit will be happening from March 26th to the 28th, and we'll be bringing back Clayman Mazdak to lead you through the sessions that'll help you in your new role as an Enactus student leader and give you the opportunity to connect with students from across the country. This summit is aimed to help you prepare for your new role as the Enactus president for the 2021-2022 academic year and build your network of support. To prepare for this transition, we wanted to provide you a few reminders. Each year, your team is required to submit an incoming student leader form by April. This form will confirm the incoming president for the year, or presidents. To ensure your team is ready for this, each team should be focusing on succession planning now, so you're prepared for that. We'll also be announcing the Enactus Summer Challenge, which will allow you to prepare in the summer to kick off for September 2021. Kick that off on the right foot. So we're excited for that after nationals, but that is everything that we have today. I know we just gave you a lot of information of what's to come. So now we want to turn the floor to you guys. We want to see if you had any questions. So I'm just going to pop over to the chat here. We're going to take a look and see if there's any questions. Mark, can you take a look and see if there's any in there now?
Yes, I already received the first questions. The first question was, what impact can we report in our challenge reports at regionals? That is a great question. So the impact you can report on at regionals is any impact your team has had after nationals last year up until regionals. And the impact has to be impact that's already happened. So you can't report in your challenge report templates on impact that hasn't happened yet or is going to happen in the future. It has to be impact that has already happened and has happened on the timeline from nationals to regionals. The second question we have is, what's the difference between final reporting and the challenge report? So final reporting is something that all teams are required to do at the end of every year to report on all of their projects and the impact their team has had throughout the year. And this happens on team.enactus.ca. The difference between that and the challenge report is something you give to the judges with your regional presentation. So it's a one-page pre-templated document that you download from our website and you submit it with your regional's 5-minute presentations.
Perfect. Any other questions, Mara? Is that all we got in the chat?
No, we have 2 more. The next question was, can we report impact outside of the metrics outlined in the challenge reports? Yes, you can report on impact outside of the metrics outlined in the challenge reports, and that is highly encouraged. So on the challenge report template, there's a large box at the bottom that's just called impact. You should report on any impact that project has had in that section. The next question is, for indirect number, what does it require the project to prove? Are name needed to be recorded? Meredith, do you want to take that question?
Yeah, sorry, could you repeat it?
For indirect numbers, what is needed to required to prove that? Are names needed?
Okay, sorry, didn't catch the last half of that question. But so for indirect impact, you don't necessarily need to provide the full contact information. It's with direct impact when you need to find that, and that'll be through the audit. So for who wins the national champion, we'll actually be going through the audit process and we'll be looking for all that information. For indirect, we'll just need the names or the numbers of the people that you worked with, as long as you are able to direct us to where that impact happened. So let's go back to Mara's example with the financial education. So if you provided that to the teachers, then students, you can just provide us with the number of the students that were in that class.
The next question is an influencer that the team works with, I think, a Team Canada wheelchair basketball player, indirect impact? I'm not sure what this question is asking. We kind of need the context between how you work with the influencer.
Yeah, but also ultimately, if you're looking at the difference, so if it's direct, if you're working with them face to face, you have their first name, last name, information, and you've transferred knowledge or skills of some sort. So if you've done that directly, then you count it as direct impact. But if you've done that indirectly, so maybe you're working with somebody who's working with them and you've provided them with the knowledge and skills to be able to get to them, then that would be indirect. We would need to know the full situation, so definitely connect with your project manager just to get the full details on that. But that's kind of the differentiation of how you judge them. If you're working face to face, then that's direct, and if you're working in, maybe it's online or something like that, then you're looking at indirect.
I think we have one more question that we missed, unless you see it, Mara.
No, go ahead, Sierra.
So this question says, do all teams that submit a national presentation have a judge feedback session, or only those who advance? So all teams that compete will have their own judging feedback session. So this is your opportunity to really just kind of sit down with the judges before you even know if you're moving on to the semifinal round, to kind of get some information of maybe why you may not have moved forward, or kind of be able to tweak some of those things that you might have missed once you move into semifinal round. So everybody, no matter if you move on or not, you will have this judge feedback session, as well as you will also receive your green sheets after the competition is completed.
right. Any other questions that anybody has? I know we gave a lot of dates and information, and you will receive all of this information afterwards. No other questions? Oh, looks like we might got one more. Sarah, do you see another one on the list there?
Oh, yeah. So it says is direct impact stronger than indirect impact? So no, I don't like no style of impact is better than the other. Direct impact just means that you've kind of worked one-on-one with them, but indirect impact is just as powerful. Being able to kind of scale out your projects and send out your curriculums or target different demographics that you might not be seeing on a daily basis, like that's still as strong as working with people one-on-one. So you won't be penalized if you only have indirect impact, which most of you might this year. So don't worry, direct impact is not stronger than indirect impact.
Yeah, definitely. And in the past, it may have been perceived that way, but our judges are aware that both of those forms are equivalent because you still are creating an impact on a greater amount of people. So you can definitely still weigh those equally, and our judges will also be aware that those are weighed equally.
This is a question for from Addie for some of the other enactus teams, and she's asking what platforms are you using to create your videos? So that's actually a topic that we're going to be touching on in one of our breakout sessions for video editing and recruitment. So we will get a little bit more in depth, but for those of you that may not be joining that session, you can feel free to post some of those answers in this chat.
God, I don't know if you guys are able to, but feel free to add any responses in there and directly message her if you'd like to answer those questions. But yeah, feel free to chime in on that. There's definitely lots of different ways that you can create a video presentation.
And somebody also asked, will you share the presentation and the recording? So yes, this recording will be shared with everyone as well as the PowerPoint or PDF.
Yeah, and when we send this out, so anywhere we referred to a link or we talked about a link somewhere, the links will all be included. So you're actually not going to get this exact copy. You'll get a copy that has links for everything that's mentioned in there. So it'll make it easy for you to just be able to go through that presentation, click on the resource and have it right there. But if at any time you come to a point where you're like, oh, we're trying to write an award, we can't find the awards and recognition handbook, we have them at our disposal. So all of your program managers are happy to send those to you if you're having trouble finding them. They know there's a lot of information. Any other questions? We're going to be moving into the breakout room shortly here, but feel free to share any other questions, anything about the process of regionals, dates, upcoming deadlines. Hello, Catherine.
Hi, everybody. So I hope you enjoyed all of that. Behind the scenes, I was putting you all into breakout rooms to get ready for best practice sharing. And all of our breakout rooms got deleted. So what's going to happen? Sorry, Mary, can you switch the slides?
Oh, yes, absolutely. I apologize.
That's okay. So I just wanted to give you a heads up for the rest of Collaboration Summit, and then we'll move into best practice sharing. But I have a solution, so not to fret. So tomorrow we have a practical guide to making awesome videos, which is a really great video editing, all about making a video presentation by Notch Video, which is an incredible video making and PR firm who are leading this training. I got a sneak preview of this training today, and you guys, it is a can't miss training. For those of you who actually can't come because you have classes and stuff, we are recording it. So make sure to watch it afterwards. It'll be sent out to you. And then on Thursday, we have a presentation and storytelling training with a drama professor named Megan Quinn. And she will lead us through several exercises and tips and tricks to help you make sure you have the best presentation possible. And that's on Thursday night at the same time as this one. Again, all of these links and recordings will be sent out to you afterwards. But feel free to email myself or any of your program managers if someone on your team didn't get a link or didn't register and wants to join later. So now we have best practice sharing. So the original plan was you all registered for topics, and then Elle and I just broke you up all into breakout rooms, and it got deleted. So what we're gonna do is we're still gonna have 5 topic rooms, and the 5 topics are storytelling and presentations, or story writing and presentations, and Meredith will be in that room. We also have competition and Q&A with Mara, video editing with Sierra, recruitment and succession planning with me, and impact measurement and reporting with Jen. So what we're going to do is we're going to randomly put you into these rooms. If you're in a room that you like, feel free to stay. If you're in a room that the topic's not super relevant to you, or you would rather be in a different topic, leave the breakout room and come back. And Elle will be sitting here and she can redirect you. So that's a good question. None of these breakout rooms will be recorded because you can only have one recording happening at the time on Zoom. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the recording now.